Hey everybody, Robert here. Thanks for checking out my channel. As you may or may not know, I'm running a little crowdfund for my movie Blood Totem. I'm not here to pitch you hard on that today. What I'm actually here today to talk about is the primary camera that I shot this film on, and what could very well be the ultimate independent run and gun cinema camera. It's a camera that gets, its fair amount of hate, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. This camera is the Sony FX30. It's an excellent cinema camera, way better than I expected. Coming from the world of professional cameras, big systems like Brad and things like that, and I got more into shooting my own films and not working with other, DPs anymore so much. I was looking for the perfect system. And I thought I had found that with Blackmagic, and I love my Blackmagics. I mean, it was really hard to stop shooting on the Pocket 6K Pro, the Pocket 4K. I love the color space. The Gen 5 color science is just beautiful. The 12-bit internal B-RAW. But for what I'm doing, particularly when I'm on location and I'm going to pretty difficult terrain and all that, it just didn't make sense. Not having a focus puller was just huge. I mean, if I had to pull my own focus, as anybody who's been there, you understand, it's just so frustrating. The FX30 I basically bought because it was like half the price of an FX3, and it just Super 35, I don't have a problem with that. My red is Super 35. The Blackmagic was Super 35. I've got plenty of Super 35 glass. 10-bit 422 is basically what you need to grade a film and have it look professional. Yes, better, you could shoot 12-bit RAW, 16-bit, all these different codecs. They're great, they're wonderful. They come with some downsides and caveats to that. However, 10-bit is like, for me, that's the perfect standard. You get manageable file sizes. You still get plenty of latitude with that color space. They call it an entry-level camera. I say it's better than that. I say it's honestly something that I'm loving the results I get with it. I'm going to show you guys the footage. You can decide for yourselves. It's not a low-light beast, which, people say you don't need low light if you're a filmmaker. You kind of do, particularly, for horror films, obviously. But another reason low light is so crucial is drama is always in the shadows. If you're doing talking head stuff like this, yeah, that doesn't matter. But we're not, filmmakers, we're not trying to get that ESPN or that CNN or whatever look. We're trying to get dramatic lighting, and that is going to be lighting in the shadows. And so, but that said, this 2500 dual ISO is not terrible. It's not going to, I'm not going to say it's like an FX3 or an A7S3 or even the A7 IV, but it's good. It's usable low light footage. In Blood Totem, I didn't use it for low light, I'll be totally honest. I didn't know the system that well. I didn't trust it yet. We shot all the low light on the A7S3 and a good amount on the A7 IV, which I was very happy with. The build quality of the system is phenomenal. It feels, close to like that professional level. It's very well designed. Cine EI, I'll be honest, I don't quite understand the benefit to it yet. I think it's more of an exposure tool, but I tend to stick to flexible ISO. If you're shooting particularly 4K footage, 120 frames per second, you kind of have to. Shooting at the native 800 is super noisy and darn near unusable. But if you go down to the lowest possible ISO at S-Log3, I've gotten very, very clean 4K footage at 120 frames per second out of this camera. Biggest reason I want to talk about this camera is to just address what I don't feel like enough filmmakers are talking about: real world usage. The FX3 is a better camera in every conceivable way, except for one major caveat. It's like twice the money. And please, if you have that money, let's say you have a $5,000 budget and you're looking at gear, please do not spend it all on a camera. Please do not even spend it all on a camera and a great lens. Please get yourself, if you get one thing, as soon as you get your camera, get yourself a nice, big, high-quality light. A big, powerful light source, because you can get them today for relatively cheap. You can't do better, in my mind, for the budget than the Lightstorms. I mean, they're amazing. I have the 600D Pro. I love that light, but that's a $2,000+ light. If you're looking to save money, and if you have to save money, check out the Amarans. I have an Amaran 200D, and that is a very powerful light. The build quality is a little lackluster. However, advantage to that, it's very light. You will not get tired setting that thing around, lugging it around. It's not, it's very good for single shooters for that very reason. Half the time I grab those lights just because they're easier on my back, lugging them up and down stairs and so on and so forth. So, okay, so here's my FX30 kind of rigged out in a minimal film, run and gun / cinema setup here. A lot of this kit was stripped off my 6K Pro and just essentially reappropriated for the FX30, namely being the 18 to 35. Go to just get it all done, 1.8 Sigma zoom lens. This was my monitor of choice. I bought this because Sony will not, for whatever reason, put false color into their cameras. Don't ask me why. Every filmmaker, everybody who shoots on Sony is asking for it, but I don't know why they're not listening. Anyways, this has some really great features that the other budget, this was budget only. Small HDs are usually really expensive. This Focus 5 lucked out, got it used. It is a micro HD to full HD, not a proper full HD to full HD. And in my experience, that hasn't caused me any issues. I'm not a huge fan of HDMI in general. SDI is always better, but on these cameras, unfortunately, that's kind of out of our budget range. But again, I've had no problems with it. Here we go. The best feature about this is I was able to set my exposure assist levels. Basically, I made the beige skin tone. I made the whites my pure whites. The blues are nearing crush. The green's middle gray. And if you see a little bit of purple down there, that's underexposed. Perfectly set, calibrated to S-Log3. I can look at that in one image, one shot, and know exactly what my exposure is going to be. Little handle extender for the audio handle. Definitely kind of a must there because the audio handle is too short. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Great autofocus, great image quality. I know I spilled out a lot of tech info. If there's anything you guys have questions about specifically, you know, feel free to write in the comments below. But, you know, more importantly than that, even if you don't, if I just talked a lot of gibberish and it sounded Greek, please don't be discouraged by that. I mean, the nice thing about cinema cameras, even the really high-end ones, they're very easy to use. Do not listen to the haters. They you know, ask them how, you know, what was the last feature film they were on, where they needed something that was professional quality, lightweight, super easy to use, and budget friendly. Because, and that will not overheat. At least, I mean, if it doesn't overheat in the Arizona sun, I don't think it can overheat anywhere, including probably the surface of the sun. So, all right, guys, have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.